Entrepreneurs. And I have a question. Do you compare yourselves to others? And it's Free Friday, by the way, so this is a Q&A night, and I'm going to be answering some of the questions that some of you have asked. For those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing 40 years, and so I share a lot of what I've learned in my journey on these live calls. I started in this business totally broke, yes. Sold a junk truck to get started, put $200 into my business. The last almost 28 years now, I've been full-time in network marketing. If that interests you and you like to be free and work from home, there's no place like home. And then I hope everybody is doing good. Hopefully your windows aren't getting smashed and no one's trying to force you to get on your knees and apologize for your skin color. Anyway, crazy stuff going on. Can you believe this stuff? I don't know. I don't get it. It just, you'd think we'd be beyond all this by now. I remember growing up as a kid, we had racial issues. I lived in Toledo, Ohio, up north, and so I can remember the Black Panthers and Motti cocktails being thrown through windows, and not in our home, but it was happening in the city, and just strife, But now, here we are, fast forward, 2020, come on. Crazy, man. Some of my best friends in life have been black. That's right. So, I tell you what, we just see abuse it's not on one color. It's not. There's a lot of white people that are abused. A lot of Spanish are abused. This is not just a problem. And now it's to the point now that even the police who want to do their jobs and should do their jobs, they're scared to do anything because they're afraid they'll go to jail or prison, God forbid, if they try to stop somebody from smashing a window out or trying to protect somebody. Crazy, man. Of course, those of you not in the United States have normal lives. I get that. I know you shake your heads. Some of you, many countries out there, wonder what the heck is going on in the United States. Totally crazy stuff. Some of my leaders talk to me about it, Hey, you gonna be all right? You gonna be all right? Yeah. I said, hey, the only thing I worry about out here are the bears, okay? That's it. So, Andrina, she asks a question, and I'm going to get, and if you have a question, you can post it, and then George will screenshot it and send it to me, okay? Okay, so Andrina from Texas says, I want to be the best leader to my team. I have a leader who is going through some tough situations right now. When do I know when to start building her business again? Okay, so Andrina is saying that she's got a leader that's going through some personal things, and this happens because again, we are, network marketing is all about leadership. But for some reason, people get it in their heads that leaders don't have problems. Leaders don't have personal lives or personal things that bother them, right? We do, okay? We are human, okay? We're very human. So the thing is, when you have a leader that's going through something like that, Andrina, the best thing you can do is, again, reach out to her, let her know you love her, that you think nothing but good things about her and she's awesome. And those are the things you say. And then say, listen, what I'm going to do is while you're going through this, and if there's anything I can do, hey, you reach out to me. I'm not going to manage your life or pry into your business, but I want you to know I'm here for you, okay? And I want to support you in any way I can. So reach out to me as a friend, okay? In the meantime, I'll go down into your team and I'll work with some of your people and help them while you're dealing with this. And look, this is like a storm. It's going to go away. So don't worry about this. I got your back. That's what you do. And that's what I would recommend that you do. So we call that, hey, Mindy, nice to see you. Mindy in New Jersey. She's tired of this quarantine stuff. Anyway, she's ready for the beach. So the thing is, Andrina, you heard me talk about taprooting in the past. Taprooting is where you drop down in a leg and you start getting to know people. And that's what I'd recommend that you do, because I experienced that myself over, 21 years ago, when I had some of my leaders at the top of that leg, the main leaders, quit and they went after the money games. I looked at what was left behind and found and discovered some incredible people, but in particular one person that I ran with, and she became a major leader. So that's what I recommend that you do, is taproot and get down in there, okay? And now, Mitch, you're in Vegas, right, Mitch? Because I know you're in the room. Hey, Tammy, nice to see you. So Mitch is asking the question that since we are in the business of marketing ourselves, how do we best communicate and focus on our prospects? Okay. So he's talking about like branding yourself. Hey, Jennifer, South Carolina. Nice to see you, Jennifer. She's a Facebook Live queen, man. She's good. Anyway, and Jennifer's a good example of marketing yourself, okay, branding yourself. And so Mitch, okay, so yeah, sure. When you talk about branding yourself, you're a person you're not on an ego trip, right? So this is about giving value. And because you have value that people discover in you, they want to follow you. That's all about branding, right? But here's what we have to do, though. It's not about focusing on ourself, where we're so self-absorbed or narcissistic. We actually, when you have people engaging with you, you taking an interest in them. You're not talking about yourself. You want to discover that person. And so that's really what it's all about. The whole point of attraction marketing is to attract, right? And second step, to discover. To discover where? The person that attracted to you. And that's it. And then what I want to know is I want to know everything I can about that person. I take an interest in that person. People love that. A lot of people are neglected. A lot of people don't feel valued. So that's what I would recommend that you do. Always do that. Always do that, Mitch. I mean, if there was one secret to my success, it was my ability to get other people to like me. But how did I do that? By taking an interest in them, not talking about myself, getting them to open up, and we talked about them, that person. So I would talk about, when I talk to a prospect, I want to know about that person. Let's talk about you. Tell me about you. I'm really interested. You look like a very interesting person, you know. So get them to open up, and that's the thing. And then praise them, and then linger. Linger is an art, because when you do that, you want to linger in the conversation. That is, you go deeper into it. You're not exploiting or being inappropriate, and trying to go into somebody's life. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things about them, things that they've done with their life. And some people, like I said, I went as far as high school, right? So when they talk about that they have an MBA or a PhD and something like, I'm like, wow, tell me about that. What school was that? Oh, you were in Princeton? Wow. I mean, that's one of the top schools in the country, right? Wow. What was that? How many years were you there? What was that like? I mean, to be there, the culture. You see what I'm saying? You linger. You're not in a hurry to get out of that and get into what you're all about, right? So that's what we do, Mitch. And then Amy from New Jersey says, what advice do you give as far as how often should you do coaching calls with a team that is growing rapidly? Currently, I'm doing this once a week. What would be your input? Okay, let me give you an illustration here, Amy. Yes, she's in the house. When you're on the interstate and there's just, there's a lot of traffic, right, on the interstate, and you're like, oh my gosh, all I want to do is get out of this city, right? You're looking for an open lane and you find it. How long do you stay in the open lane? As long as you can. As long as you can. You just keep going. Now, if you have, let me tell you, friends, if you have a team, one team, that is growing rapidly, that's where you need to put your work. I know a lot of times we think, well, they're growing rapidly, so they're so smart, they're so talented, they're so great. Therefore, I'm going to go off and work somewhere else. Nothing wrong with working somewhere else, but it's a big mistake to not be engaged in something that's happening really big. Let me tell you, most of your income in network marketing is going to come from one, possibly two legs. That's it. That's it. I don't care if we're talking Dexter Yanger in Amway or whoever. Most of it's going to come from one or two legs. So if you are blessed to have one leg that's big or really rapidly growing, you want to throw yourself in. Why? Because sometimes the leaders get overwhelmed, and then sometimes they got personal lives, marriages, kids, whatever, and you got a lot of lifting that's got to be done in a leg like that. So you want to say, hey man, I'm here. Many hands make work light, right? And it takes a lot of the pressure off, those people. Now, if they say, hey, I got this, say, okay, if you got this, I'm here to support. Then go ahead and start working somewhere else. But I'm not saying that be the only thing you do. No, but you want to get that leg solid. You know when it's solid? For friends, what is your top pin level? Whatever. If it's double ruby sapphire or platinum international diamond or double diamond, whatever you want to call it, whatever your top pin level is, or second to the top, which could be, diamond, whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing out names. The thing is, until you are 4 of those leaders deep, you're not there yet. You're not there yet. When you're there, that's called a cooked leg. Yes, that's what we old-timey networkers call it. That baby's cooked. That's a cooked leg. Okay, I'm going to cook the other one now. Okay, so that's right. And keep in mind, it needs to be solid positions, not somebody you hit at one time. Okay, so just so that's what I would do. It's a blessing to have a leg that's running away from you. Now, Michael Lenz, he's from Denmark, so he's asleep. So when you wake up, Michael, and you see this, good morning. Okay. Michael says, I experienced a lot of people in our organization comparing themselves with other distributors, and this even makes them stop. No surprise. What do I teach them? Mindset? No, not mindset. Mind your own business set. Mind your own business set. I tell you, I remember one of our corporate leaders, he was the chief financial officer in our company. We were in Sydney, Australia, in Sydney Harbor, you know, where that beautiful opera house is, and we were out on sailboats. And we went out into the ocean there, and we were sailboat racing. And we had, I guess it was 6 sailboats. Mine was the lead sailboat. Now, I'm very competitive, okay? I am. That's one of my faults, okay? But anyway, so anyway, and it was drizzling rain, and it was cold. It was spring, but it was cold in Sydney. But I was out there, man, and all that, and I had the wheel, so, and the captain was there, and we would, you know, finally I kept looking back to see if, because I knew the other boat was catching up, and he happened to be one of my top leaders as well. And the CFO said to me, he said, "Jeff, look where you want to go. Don't worry about him." And I thought, that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson. So let me tell you something, Michael. So here's the thing. What I would do is just have a talk with those leaders. Now, first of all, be careful about who you promote in your Facebook groups or at your meetings or conference calls, whatever you're doing, however you gather your people for training, and you want to motivate them. And the way we try to motivate them is we talk about the new rock star that came in the company and let's say in 3 months went to some incredible rank position. We have to be careful about that, because you got people in there that have been with you a year and 2 years, and they haven't maybe even got to the first rank position. And they're going, "Oh gosh, I'm so horrible. I'm so disgusted. I can't do this." And that's all that does, is discourage them. So be careful about who you promote, because first of all, you don't know. And I would tell them that, Michael, with any of these people that start, and if you're not doing that, Michael, I'm not saying you're doing that, but if they're comparing themselves to others, maybe they're getting on the company website, or looking at the company magazine, they're noticing who's going up in rank, whatever. You just have to have a sit down, or just get your group together and talk and just say, listen, it doesn't do yourself to compare yourself to others. First of all, you have to keep in mind, that person was where many of you have been or are presently. Okay? Number 2, you don't know the background of that person. You don't know the level of experience that person has. I can tell you back in the 1990s, man, I know some companies that I went into, and we would bring large teams from previous companies and literally go into some of these new startup companies. They were binary compensation plan companies, right? We knew how to structure left, right, balance, you know, we knew the deal. And we would literally break companies very quickly, which didn't exactly help us, right? But it really showed that they were very weak. And it also showed our lack of good judgment of what a good company is. But I'm just saying that a lot of people, so I would shoot up very quickly in rank and income and all that, because why? I had so many people following me. So that happened. Now, 21 years ago, that was not the case, because by that time they were all dead, because we all chose many wrong companies. And then I gained some common sense to know what to look for in a company. But going back, what you need to tell these people is that you don't know the background about that person. Some come and they bring downlines with them, number 1. Here's the second thing, and this is not a bad thing. Here's the second thing. Some of these people were very people-oriented people. They paid into relationships their entire life. Sort of like paying into a bank, right? So that when you make a lot of deposits, and you need to make withdrawals, the money is there, right? They paid into relationships with people. They were very people-oriented. They did things with people. They were involved maybe in their religious organizations or their churches or community things, or just any kind of charities, or they did things for the school, or the list goes on and on, right? And they met a lot of people, and people respected them. So they were the kind of people that if they picked up the phone and they called somebody and said, hey, I'm involved in something that I wish you support me on, or be my customer, or take a look at it. Maybe you would join me in my company. Things like that. There's like, hey man, consider it done. If you're in, I'm in. See, that's a paid-in relationship. And so what I'm saying, Michael, is that what people have to understand is some people were better at that, and most are not. Most moderately pay in, some big time pay in, okay? But you can't compare yourself to those kind of people. The thing that people, and this is what I would encourage those leaders to do, is again, focus on where you want to go. Where do you want to go? If it's going to take you longer to get there than those people or that person, that new rock star, what does it matter? Either way, you got there. If you don't quit, you will get there. It's inevitable. If you do the numbers, it's inevitable. So, and here's what you need to compare yourself to, friends. Compare yourself to what you were 2 years ago. Do you think you've grown? Do you think you're a better leader? Do you think you know how to prospect and talk about this a lot better? Do you have a bigger team? We need to be thankful for what we have and how much we've grown. If we're going to compare ourselves to anyone, compare ourselves to our past and how much we have grown. I'm a whole different leader than I was 21 years ago. I mean, it's my whole life changed. I mean, changed in so many ways. So the thing about it is, and there's nothing wrong with comparing yourself there. That's positive because you're looking for positive things to praise yourself about and have gratitude about. Now, Jody says from Alabama, she says, I have a question for you. I get a friend request from fellow network marketers all the time. So when I go back and look at my friends, they're all just fellow network marketers. Oh my gosh, could you imagine having just network marketers in your network? What's the world coming to? I mean, I'm messing with you. I don't want to not be friends with them, but it doesn't give me any warm leads. What should I do? What should I do? Well, first of all, they are your leads, Jody. Do you know how long the average networker stays in a company? Not too long. I don't know the statistic. It varies. If we're talking about India, and Ascilla knows this, if we're talking about India, I would say one day. I mean, if they're seasoned leaders, they've been in 1 week before they left. Okay. In the United States, they hang in longer, okay? And then boom, they're off to something else, okay? But now, here's the other thing I would say is that, again, I go back to, like I said, in the 90s, I made a lot of wrong choices joining other companies, right? Why? Lack of experience in terms of judgment. I was I was hot about the product, I was hot about the compensation plan, I didn't do my due diligence on the company, things like that. And you're going to have things. How many in that network of yours are really in their companies anymore? And how many of those have you reached out to get to know? I'm going to tell you, and it is a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. When you want to engage in their postings and conversations with them, it's a lot of work. But that's part of the work in network marketing, right? It really is. Now, here's the other thing. If they're totally not engaging with you in anything, keep in mind, you know, the algorithm in Facebook is either going to reward you or punish you. But if you have a lot of people that are just not engaged with you, it's time to, time to prune. Time to prune. Get off the dead wood, okay? Get rid of the dead wood. What happens when you prune? See, I have rose gardens here, okay? And so when I have dead wood on a bush, let me tell you, that's not a good thing, because because even the rose bush is still sending energy to what's dead. The problem is what's working, what's trying to grow, is it's being deprived of that energy. That's the reason why you've got to cut it off. So go through your Facebook network and then go through that. And for those people that are not engaged and maybe they don't get on Facebook that much, you need to clip off the dead wood, prune it, okay? So that's something that I would recommend that you do. And so also the question, this is Andrina, no surprise. She's got such a curious mind. I love young people. What do I say on a follow-up on a potential customer? She has shown all interest in the product but hasn't ordered. Okay, so a couple of things. Maybe she doesn't have the funds. You could just ask her, say, just be honest. Say, hey, Susan, you know, you had such an interest in the product. Can you tell me why? Let her open up and sell you on the product, number one. Then number two says, wow, I appreciate you sharing all that with me. Is there a reason why you're not ready, or are you ready to place an order? Let her tell you what the problem is. Here's the one thing that you can assure her on, that your company, and most companies do, you all have money back guarantees. Money back guarantees. You've got nothing to lose but the weight. You got nothing to lose but all that toxicity in your body. You got, you know, and that's the thing. Just reassure them, whatever your product is, find your line, but just say, look, it's a money back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, the company will refund your money. You got nothing to lose on this. Now, here's another thing that you can do. Susan, I'll tell you what, are there people, I mean, I'm so glad you're enthusiastic about this product and the things that you shared, why it appealed to you. I appreciate that. I really do. Do you have some friends that would feel that same way about this product? You do? Here's what I'd recommend you do, Susan. We could do this two ways. One is that you could just enroll, get the product, and then I'll work with you. Introduce me to some of those people, and I'll work with you on that. And when they purchase, what's going to happen is you're going to get paid. What's going to happen is what you're getting is going to equal out on what you're paying out on your own product. Basically, you're getting your product for free. And you're going to have an income that's growing, because if they continue to do that, you're going to have your product for free and an income. Here's another way that you can handle that. If she resists enrolling, say, you know what, Susan, here's what I'll tell you what. Those 3 friends of yours that you thought about, I'll tell you what, why don't you introduce me to them? And if those 3 choose to buy, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a bottle. I'll give you a bottle for free. Won't cost you a thing if they choose to buy. And if they choose to enroll, Susan, I am going to let you know. I'm going to give you the chance, Susan, to sponsor them. I'm not going to sponsor them. I'll come back to you on that. That's another way you can handle it. So those are my thoughts on that. Now I'm going to go to George. And George. Okay, so I'll just say Monte from the country of Colombia asked the question, ¿Cómo está, Monte? Why people don't want to understand the new global economy. Well, I wouldn't say that they don't want to. Just find a different set of friends. Okay, that's it. Listen, here's the reason why you want to have a business globally instead of just in your country. You're never going to get rich. I mean, probably not. Number one, you're not going to get rich. Number two, if somebody in your company does stupid things and the government shuts down your company, or you get shut down in your country that you're in, but you happen to be like me, you're in 58 different countries. I said, well, not in that country, but I still have 57 more. Hey, you have to be diversified. So always having a global business is smart. Now, why did I say you won't get rich? It's not exactly true. I know some people that are, that sometimes focus just on the U.S. market and they do very well. Some are seven-figure earners. Most, the majority will not. But here's the reason why I say that, is you want to make money while you sleep. You're not a smart networker if you're not making money while you sleep. When I go to bed tonight, people in Asia are waking up. I'm getting paid in China. I'm getting paid in the country of India. I'm getting paid in the Philippines. I'm getting paid in Taiwan. I'm getting paid in Thailand. I'm getting paid in Singapore. I'm getting paid in Malaysia. I'm getting paid in Indonesia. I'm getting paid in Japan. I'm getting paid in South Korea. You want me to keep going? You understand? They're all busy. And Jeff is snoring. Jeff just rolled to the left side of the bed, made $2,000. Then he rolled to the right and made another $2,000. That's the idea. I'm not saying that's exactly how that happens. I'm just joking. But I'm just saying that's how it's done, my friends. You have to make money while you sleep. That's right. So that's the reason why you want a global business. And so some people, they just get focused on their country and they're afraid, like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know what to say to those people. I mean, what are you talking about? We're all the same. They all have dreams. They all have goals, the desires. They have, they're in a state of want or need, and they're not where they want to be in their life. We're all that way. I don't care what skin color you are, what nationality or race. It's all the same. The only thing that's different is the language. Well, how is it I get paid out of 58 countries and I only speak English? I'm even married to a Chinese woman. I don't understand Mandarin. And when she chews me out, I don't know what she's talking about. I just smile and say, I love you too. What did Larry the cable guy say? Get her done. Just get it done. Build a global business. Make money while you sleep. Oh, Robert Nelson has a question. In North Carolina, he has a leader with unsupportive spouse. Any advice to help her pull him on board? Yeah. It reminds me, Robert, of being in a meeting. One time I did a meeting, and large group of people at this meeting, and I said, divorce yourself from negative people. And a man stood up in the back and said, that's my wife. I didn't mean her. So, okay, so he has a leader with an unsupportive spouse. Any advice to help pull him on board? Okay, so, here's the thing that I would do. So this is a woman that's in his team, and the unsupportive spouse is a man. So, that's not an easy situation, but here's a few things that, that I have, done in the past or recommended. And and that is this. Try to be a friend to that spouse. All right, that spouse is that woman's husband. We'll just talk about him. See if you can reach out and develop a friendship there. And because I know Robert's in North Carolina, and a lot of his organization is Spanish, and Spanish people get together, right? Even though we're social distancing, supposedly. Robert, what I would try to do is invite him over, for a meal or for lunch or something like that. Try just make some inroads there, and also see what he's hot about. What does he like? Does he like to golf? Does he like football, sports? What is it that he enjoys doing? And then maybe do something with him. That's what I would recommend. Now, if he's long distance, then here's the other thing that I would again encourage the woman to do is find products in your company that would appeal to men and get him on those products. If he's athletic, then perhaps that protein product, right? If there's a protein product in your line, then get him to get his wife to get him on that product. Say, honey, I know you're really into sports. I really want your feedback. We got this product. I hear good things about it. That people are getting results. I would like for you to try this product. And there could be other products like cardio. Hey, honey, I love you so much. I hear about all these people dying from heart attacks. I don't want that. I don't want you having, I want to make sure that you have good health. I want you to be on this product. Whatever it is, find some products that would appeal to him. And that's what I would do. And again, sometimes with men, if their wives are going out, they wonder, who are they going out with, right? So there could be some fear there. You might want to make sure that she knows how to use online tools to be able to do her business and stay home. Because some men get jealous. It just happens. And I know some situations and I've seen this in my own organization around the world, that you got a woman that's going out and she, doing face-to-face presentations and things like that, and the husband is at home. I remember at a Tony Robbins event, Mindy would probably appreciate this. This was at Date with Destiny. And this was a career woman, man. She just loved the business and loved to get out there and charge and go for it. And but their marriage was in the toilet, right? And Tony was trying to bring that marriage together in front of 5,000 people. It was incredible. But he interviewed the guy, right, standing next to his wife, and he says, "What is it you want?" He said, "I just want to be with my wife." And Tony's like, "Wow, that's powerful. It's powerful." And he looked at her and said, "See, he loves you." There's the thing. So I don't, because I lack knowledge on this situation, Robert. The one thing that she needs to do is watch how much time she's spending away from the house. The one thing that network marketing should do is empower a marriage. It should empower a relationship. It should empower a family. It's really true. I remember, but it doesn't happen with some people, because I can remember one time I was at church, religious service anyway. After it was over, I looked back behind me and met a family, Spanish family. And I said, "Hello, how are you?" "Hey, I'm doing fine." I said, "Where are you from?" "Oh, Florida." "Oh, Florida, okay, great." They looked at me and said, "I think I know you." I said, "Really?" "Yeah, I think I know you." "Where in Florida?" "Oh, Miami." "I don't get down there that much." "But I know you." And then I said the name of my company, and he said, "Platino," which means platinum. Funny. And so I started talking, and they were in my downline, but I didn't know. And they got to a significant rank position, and then they quit. I said, why'd you quit? He said it was like this. I was always away from the family. I was always away. And me and my wife were about to have a divorce. And I was just always out doing presentations. And I said, it didn't have to be that way. You can use technology. You can use online tools. And his son said, we were so glad the day our father quit. We got our father back. And a knife went right through my heart, right? I'm like, oh my God. Why did it have to be that way? Why? I said, I do everything from my home. Online tools, everything. I don't go out and present. I don't even want distributors near my house. Anyway, so Robert, make sure that, she's not going away from the home too much, okay? Again, the way we teach network marketing can destroy families. I'm a big believer in online tools, online systems, but I'm a big believer in getting together too. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But it's got to be balanced, right? There's got to be balance. But see if she can find products that he would like, and if possible, if you live near him, take him out for lunch. And let's see if George sent me anything else. So Rulo from Mexico asked the question, how can I tell a consumer that there is also a business? Most of the consumers, they feel bad to offer a business to their content. Well, wait a second. Here, that's easy to do. If your product's that great, so is the business behind it. If your product's that great, money is to be made. Money is being made. Think about it. How did McDonald's get to where it is? The size? Because they sold products? No, it's because they sold the business model. You make more money selling a business model than selling the products. Now, some will say, well, that's a pyramid scheme. No, it's not. Got these idiots, man. And they're all in America, too. They're smashing windows. Okay, understand this, okay? McDonald's moves billions and billions of dollars of hamburgers because why? They have hundreds of thousands of franchises out there. They cannot move the products unless they have the business model in place. That's a fact. So the thing about it is, yes, I never sell the product. I would never sell the product. I would never sell it without explaining that there is a business behind it. So this product is incredible, but you know what? Even more incredible about this is there is a financial opportunity. If you don't want to use the word opportunity, you could say there's a business model behind this. There's a very powerful business model where you could earn a substantial income. It may or may not be for you. But if you want to know some more information, I'd be glad to share that with you. Selling product is a waste of time if you're not going to introduce the business. Because you got to keep going back. Who wants to do that? You can set them up on auto ship, yeah. But if you don't explain the business, and then they find later on that there is a business opportunity, there is a residual income behind your product, and you didn't tell them, you know what they'll do? Sign up with someone else. They'll consider you weak. I would. And in a lot of companies, customers are just customers. They don't have to stay with a sponsor or someone who brought them to the table. If they haven't made the decision to ink the paper or become a distributor or an affiliate or a brand partner, whatever you want to call that, if they haven't made that decision and they're a customer and they find out you didn't tell them about the opportunity, they'll find someone else. Carlos from Texas asked the question, this is the last one. unless you're desperate for an answer on something. Okay. Carlos from Texas asked the question, how can I make my network more productive? More productive. Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. I mean, I was recently talking to one leader who's doing promotions, and she really wants to push her leaders with promotions and, you know, different rewards. They don't have to be expensive. There's many ways to do that, but I think that the important thing is communication is very important, because if you're not getting your leaders together on Zoom calls and sharing company announcements and creating, you know, excitement in your team, I mean, you got to be the energy. You got to be on fire about, you know, what's going on with your company, and get your leaders together and talk to them about that. Most important, share what's going on. You know, that, I mean, enthusiasm is contagious. So that's one thing I would do, Carlos, is get them together, get them on a regular, you know, at least once a week. Share what's going on in your company, any company news, any trainings that you want to do, any challenges. And then recognize people, like when they, you know, people, let's say if the challenge for that week was, you know, how many customers could you get that week? How many people could you enroll that week? You know, let's just say, everyone just go for one, and I'm going to announce, you know, the people who did it. I mean, just get creative, spend time, talk about it with some of your leaders, and then just do it. But what's happening is there's just not a lot of communication going on with a lot of teams. And they're just looking at volume reports. Big mistake. Big mistake. There's a lot a volume report won't tell you. It will tell you when volume is low. It'll tell you that. But it won't tell you why. And that's because there is no communication going on. That's the other thing too. I appreciated a long time ago is I call down into the downline, get to know the people. Even when I traveled, I remember one time I was at a big event in Indonesia on stage, one of the top leaders behind me. And when we were wrapping the whole thing up, the event's over, the graffiti's coming down, and we're waving to the crowds and all that. And I looked over and said, how you doing? And he said, not so good, Jeff. Not so good? Really? And I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. You know, so after it was over, yes, Carlos, your opportunity is, your product is the opportunity. Then and I was supposed to fly out the next day to another country. I changed my flight plans to meet with him and his wife. And I was so glad I did, because it was something that really, I needed to really work and help them on. You know, it was a messy situation. So, and that's the thing, and reports won't tell you that. Now, I'm not saying you got to fly out, you know, necessarily, but you do need to pick up the phone or call them on an app. However you communicate with your leaders, just communicate. So Carlos Santiago says, what is your product, Jeff? The opportunity? Yes. I've always sold the franchise, not the burger. Let me tell you something. You sponsor somebody in the business, they can move a lot of product. See, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Let's get this clear. I'll repeat this again, because it's always worth repeating. We are in network marketing. We are not in direct sales. Your company may be in the DSA, which is the Direct Sales Association. I would recommend they get out, simply because it's very misleading and confusing, because it gives the suggestion that your people are out and they're like the Fuller Brush Man. They're going door to door, or like your neighborhood Jehovah's Witness going door to door, right? Or you're selling shoes or cars, whatever. You're not doing that. What you're doing is you're building a network of people that are consuming products. That is network marketing. And the FTC doesn't understand that. They really don't get that. Because we're trying to say we're this and we're not doing it. Because if you're in direct sales, then that's what you do. You sell. And if I was to do a survey right now on this call and ask any of you, how much product have you personally sold this month? I bet you I couldn't find one. Yeah, I might. There might be. There might be. But I'm going to say, but that's not what we do. What we do is we build networks. We sell the business model. That's not a pyramid scheme, because you cannot sell products if you don't get distributors in place. That's confusing. What do we mean by distributors? Because again, that's a confusing term. So that means because it's on your applications, and that's the only reason why I mention it. But a distributor is a person who is able to sponsor others. But it's an archaic term, because if I go back 40 years ago, that's what I did. I'd buy $5,000 of product, and then I'd sell the product down to other distributors who would in turn sell the product. But today, on your applications, it says distributors, but that allows you to sponsor people. So let's focus on that. And sponsoring is most important. Why? Because if you don't sponsor, then they're not going to spread the word about your product. You're not going to, so the purchase volume, your sales organization volume is going to be very low or non-existent. So the more people you sponsor, the greater your sales are going to be. And so you hecklers, do you get that? Do the math. How can you have sales if you don't have people promoting the product? You probably, and I know what they're doing right now, why we're not hearing from them. They're out smashing windows in America. Stupid people. Okay, so anyway, so that's the reason why I promote the business model. And so George is done with me, I guess. And nice to hear from you. That's right. That's what we are. So everyone, listen, have a great weekend. And listen, I've had enough of this negative news, this racism, riots, crazy stuff. I don't think we had as much last night as we had the last 3 days. I think last night was very light. I mean, they're all wore out and tired from smashing windows, right? But anyway, just be safe, and when you're out there, and don't get the virus, okay? You don't want to get sick, okay? A lot of people are relaxing from being careful. Don't be one of those, okay? I'd like you to get on these calls and not be sick, okay? But just be smart, okay? Just take care of yourself and your family. I'll put out some value this weekend. I love all you guys, and nice seeing you, Eden. Thank you. Thank all of you for getting on tonight. Bye-bye.